There's one other thing I gotta say. Um, so what I'm trying to do is um, I try to ignore the stupid shit people do to me, and uh, and then when I do, they just start doing it more. Uh, and then I gotta sit there and confront everybody all the time about everything they fucking do to me. Look, so I just went to the grocery store, and when I was there, as I was walking in, this guy scratched his eyebrow, and it looked fake to me. It didn't seem real to me, and it's just based on my instinct. And there was a woman standing uh, in front of the carts, a little bit to the right of it, with a thing blocking it, making sure that I grab a cart from the left. And the um, clip for uh, uh, the clip to put toddlers and babies and stuff was attached to the um, to the uh, cart that I grabbed. Um, and and so what I'm getting at is people uh, so people they keep treating me like shit. Then people keep pushing me to confront them all, stand up for myself, and then people start calling me a fucking baby and shit. Uh, and and I'm not doing anything to anybody. The only thing I do is stand up for myself and say what the hell I want to say on Twitter. That is all I do. Um, I don't. I think I mentioned in a video before that you can. Yeah, I did mention it in a video before. You can track a car, but uh, you can also. You can track damn near any kind of electronic device. I think. I mean, you need to in order to um, pick up the in order to access a flashlight and turn it off. Um, and but that does not disprove the fact that there's a chip in my wrist. And but I just wanted to say that what happened to me at the grocery store. Um, if people don't stop doing these things, uh, then people who don't do anything wrong and just go on about minding their business uh, are going to become victimized generation after generation after generation. And I've mentioned in some videos that I'm a Star Trek fan, and that Vulcans ain't coming to Earth to help us. Well, uh, I think I've been doing fucking plenty. Now, uh, so online, I identify as a fascist. The only reason I do it is because I think it's the only political ideology that really stands up for me as a white male. And then I also kind of think that now this weird, stupid, fucking clothes, no clothes bullshit that I see that kind of it seems like goes on. I don't necessarily think that was what went on with. I keep all I can say is I was walked into this whole fucking nightmare load of bullshit, uh, and it was by the church. It was by hackers actually, but the church are completely behind a lot of this stuff. They uh, will not uh, do anything to put a stop to it. They won't try to abolish psychiatry. They love psychiatry. Utah's been a Republican state for decades. It's downtown Salt Lake that's liberal and Democrat. And I don't really respect the LGBTQ community because they support psychiatry, and I do not respect the Mormons because they support and enforce psychiatry, and they have a lot of money. And this stuff that I go through, uh, I tell people to stop it, and then they start doing it again. And uh, you know, I gotta say this. So at my jujitsu gym, so there was actually a guy who I don't know if it was random that he happened to walk by me. It might have been. And there was a guy, he was just outside my door a couple of nights ago, and he looked like one of the guys that was at my jujitsu gym. I didn't open the door because I didn't want to be overly nosy and stuff, because I just gotten into it with my neighbor across the hall. But he sure as hell looked like one of the people. So what he did is I don't know if he tapped on my door or he stomped his foot. I think he tapped on my door or something like that. And then I just saw uh, somebody else from my old jujitsu gym walk by the building, and so when I went there, they were taking absolutely nothing and turning it into something with me. Uh, they were, it's like they were setting me up in some sort of weird, stupid social fabrication. Uh, they were, and I didn't do anything to anybody. I showed up. I would pull my punches in the Muay Thai classes and stuff. I would, um, I would, I did not hurt anyone in the grappling ever. I was respectful to everyone. Might have slipped up a time or two. Tried to apologize too. But it's like they tried, and then the black belt there, he started saying I have cognitive issues and shit. And then it's almost like he tried to hook me up. Or not necessarily hook me up, but get me to hit on a chick at this PJ Barch seminar at their gym in West Valley. And there was this redhead. And I don't know if they were expecting me to hit on her, and I didn't, and he threw my flip flop. I mean, they were some assholes to me there. Look, I don't think that uh, so I just got to say that at one time, just one time, there's this one guy there, and he's a former army guy, and I'm just sitting there being a good sparring partner or whatever, explaining some sort of technique that the instructor just went over, and he grabs my water jug right here and he just kind of throws it on the ground in a very obvious manner, kind of similar to how when what one time I was in jail and I had a cellmate and he was being rude to the to one of the jail guards, and I had a book, and he was like they were hooking him up with all these books and stuff. See, I've got this apartment full of books that I had to buy. This motherfucker, they're just giving him shit. They're just giving him all these educational books and stuff. Then they transfer me into one cell, and there was this African guy studying French. I wanted to study some foreign language. Like I had to make tons of requests to the library when I was in jail to get academic books. Finally, I got them, but they wouldn't give them to me. But these other people, they would. It's like people want me fucking stupid. And if I'm not stupid, people want me to be labeled crazy, psycho, some shit. Uh, and then if I reject that label or whatever, then they switch it up to something else. Uh, but uh, but the situation where the guy at the jujitsu gym took my water jug and just hucked it on the ground, I didn't know what the hell I did to make him do that. I mean, there were times they were, flicking my flip flops around and and doing some other stuff, and they were making it very obvious to me. Uh, then denying it and stuff. Uh, there was one of the guys at the gym. He at the end of this alley, I saw him with my own eyes walk across the alley on the sidewalk wearing some sort of stupid backpack, which reminds me of something that happened years ago when I was going through homelessness and shit. I went to the community college because I was trying to organize for a Yellow Vest protest. And I went there for other things too. I was going there just to show up, just because I wanted to be at a college. I just wanted to show up at a college and be around college students so I could, I don't know, build up the courage to go to fucking college And you had these fucking people, these fucking annoying people walking by wearing these children's backpacks and stuff like that. I mean, they were making it very, very obvious what they were wearing, and they would make sure they walked by me when they did it. It was some sort of staged theatricality. So I don't know. I'm just. I want. Uh, Look, all I can really say is I am being targeted and discriminated against, and uh, I just want my side of the story out there in case I go back to jail again. Don't want to do that. Don't want to lose all this stuff. Back to a mental institution. You go to a mental institution. If you don't play ball, if you don't take their therapy classes and stuff, if you refuse the meds, I mean, they might keep your ass locked up for a long time. I, you know, they're very anti-cannabis at the state hospital in Provo, and I think I'm a person who's been heavily involved in cannabis legalization in Utah. Proposition 2 back in 2017 or so, it got passed, and then the Mormon church shut it down. Probably so they could stage some theatrical stuff, do some sociological manipulation to entrap people. I think that's why the Mormons did that, because uh, I don't know. That's the only reason I can think of they'll pull that shit. But they basically violated their own state law to do that. And I have been uh, I've been involved in cannabis legalization. And when I went to the state hospital, there was just a piece of paper, and it said something like, "Have you ever been addicted to anything?" No. Oh, have you ever smoked weed? And I said, "Yeah, once, a few times." And they fucking put me in a goddamn drug class. I didn't need it. I never needed it. Maybe I should make another video, go over my jail paperwork. In fact, I'm just going to do that right now, actually. I've got all the jail paperwork. I've got it all saved. And I'm going to pull out I'm going to set the phone down. All right, this is a start. So, right there. Oh yeah. Uh, Elise, she's this fucking short little bitch that will use muscle and have muscle pin a patient down while she jabs them with a needle. And she would be serving meds and stuff. And then, yeah, and she was a fucking bitch to me multiple times. I never did shit to her. I mean, there were some people in the state hospital that I didn't do anything to them, and they had a problem with me just because. Probably because I was just argumentative. I was calling out the fact that psychiatry is bullshit. Yeah, she was. So the crackers, when you fucking end up when you have to take meds, uh, they would serve crackers to help get the meds down. Well, with me, she wasn't giving me any. Now, there's a small part of me that thinks that she did that because she knows my personality, and she knew that I would complain and I would keep the paperwork and complain on the internet. That's a possibility. But there's that. Um, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff I went. Let's see here. There was one guy when I was at the. Okay, here we are. And you know, this is almost the same. So I complain and I say people are doing things to me, and then they say I don't think they're doing that. Uh, there was a staff member. He woke me in the morning to get my vitals, and then at the end of it, he shook his keys. I made a complaint about it, and she said, "Nick, if you ever feel unsafe, please let staff know. I do not think they were trying to provoke you by using their keys. It is important that you let us know if you feel unsafe or threatened. We are here to help you. You can always ask the RN." Yeah, well, that's why I said this. See, I do paperwork. You know why? You can track it. It's a physical copy of what the fuck happened. It's documentation. If I'd have just talked to the damn staff, they would have gone over and so they were taking this person that took my vitals in that morning. He wasn't even a part of the unit. He'd have been gone. So I would have talked to them, and they would have never talked to him again because it would have been about 3 or 4 weeks by the time he came back. That's why I get paperwork. I document shit. That's why I have a fucking journal. Here's a funny situation, and this is the same shit I'm dealing with right here at this apartment. Sort of different though. Erethiel, the short little black guy, and I forget who Ethan was, but Erethiel and Ethan snored at me when I walked past. Yeah, they would go make a pig noise at me, or a snorting noise. I don't know. Maybe it's a maybe I'm supposed to interpret it as they're calling me a pig or something like that. But they did that. Look. All right, this is from Salt Lake County Jail. All right, so this I gotta say. In Salt Lake County Jail, so either hackers or I said on a Tinder profile something about it really makes me mad. I gotta say this because this is very personal to me. The phone is going. It's fucking pissing me off. So I have a tickle fetish. I'm heterosexual. I like women. Period. I don't fucking like men. Fucking straight. Period. End of discussion. And ever since I got political heavily, people will send gay people my way and have them hit on me and shit. It pisses me off. But in Salt Lake County Jail, law enforcement, they actually, during the pat downs, they would touch me in ways that were simulating that. They were trying to do that to me. They were doing that to me. And I consider that sexual assault. That's what I think. I would relate that to sexual assault. If you work at a jail or a prison and you got a person that you're patting down and you're the same gender and you know goddamn well they're hetero, and if you did background research on them, like what I think that happened with me, and you do that to them based on evident knowledge of a sexual preference of theirs, I think that's sexual assault. No, that's from the state hospital. All right. There's something I want to move on to. This other folder that I grabbed. All right, so there's a guy. His name was Dr. Peterson, Anthony Peterson. There was a mental health therapist in here. I forget which one it is, but there's 3 of them on this list. They had a committee. I don't know how the state law is framed to give them jurisdiction in Salt Lake County Jail. It's from the fucking University of Utah. They lied in their paperwork. They took down reports of what I was saying and they lied about what I said to force me on meds in jail. And Dr. Peterson, he's like 6'5", big motherfucker, bigger than me. And I'm in this special area, and so first there was this other guy, Dr. Johnson. Now, I don't know if these are aliases or whatever, but Dr. Johnson was grunting, mocking my Tourette syndrome, and I'm sitting behind the glass. I'm sitting in a fucking jail cell, and he's making grunting noises at me. This fucking son of a bitch. And I can't remember I don't even remember how I reacted to the motherfucker. I don't remember if I got mad at him or what. But then Dr. Peterson comes in, and I talked about what's in my shoulder and the chip in my wrist. And he gets this fucking big fucking grin this big fucking smile on his face. And he goes, "I think you have schizophrenia." And I fucking punched the glass. Because, I mean, he's sitting there, he's standing there mocking me. I mean, you're in a jail cell, and an employee of the jail is mocking you. There was a lot of other interesting stuff that happened to me. I used to be like, my social skills got really, really messed with, and were put into shock in that jail. There was sometimes a guard would walk up to my jail cell, and start sparking a conversation with me. And as I get around to talking about what I need to defend myself, to stand up for myself, because that's what I would do, is I would speak up to stand up for myself and speak my side of the story and stuff, they'd walk away. And I'd be trying to fucking talk to them, and they're walking away. And they do that to you several times in a row. And it just messes with you bad. But the purpose of this hearing today is to make a medical determination as to whether or not the proposed treatment is in the medical best interest of the patient, taking into account the possible side effects or adverse effects of the treatment, as well as the potential benefits of the treatment. Also, to determine if the proposed treatment, blah, blah, blah. This patient is not a federal detainee. I wasn't a federal inmate. I don't understand how the hell a committee from the University of Utah has you browse the Utah code and you don't see any of this shit. They're missing titles and stuff. A lot of shit's going on. It's really weird. All right, this thing here, it says, this is the conversation between them or something like that. And this one here, it says, "I have been designated SPMI, seriously and persistently mentally ill. The patient refuses medications, stating that he does not need medication and that he thinks they are ineffective." No, I just said I didn't need them. Actually, what I was saying in jail repetitively is that it covers up a problem. So if a person is mad, they're mad for a reason. If you're mad at people that mistreat you and oppress you, the meds make you just let yourself get mistreated and stuff. It says here, "The patient has stated that he does not like psychiatrists and that psychiatry is a pseudoscience." You're goddamn right. "The patient is currently housed on the acute mental health unit and was admitted for suicidal ideation." Now, they took some stuff I said and twisted it. I made some sort of vague comment, because, see, I was making comments that would apply to more than just me. And I must have said something. I don't remember verbatim what I said, but verbatim is context. And I said something, and I must have brought up the subject of suicide. And they're looking. When you're in the system, if you so much as talk, okay, now I remember this too. So if I wouldn't talk to the therapists, to the social workers, then what would happen was the jail guards would serve me small meals. Well, they would do things. I got to check my journal about this. But they would do things to me, and then the trustees, which are the inmates that clean and serve food and stuff, they would always serve me a small tray every time. And oh man, it was so. So then, what you end up doing is you end up talking to the social workers uh, for protection and to get I don't know, a bigger meal. Which I don't even remember if that was effective, but I would reach out to them because you couldn't handle the shit that the jail guards were doing to you. Uh, right, the patient is currently housed on the acute mental health unit and was admitted for suicidal ideation. Uh, that was bullshit. It was not suicidal. They just jumped to it. They jumped to a conclusion. You know, you can go through just a fucking just like if you end up getting a suicidal thought in your head, if you're dealing with a bunch of messed up shit in jail or prison or wherever, outside, real out and about, and you end up having thoughts out here for 5 minutes, it just occurs in your brain, and then you end up getting this stuff happen to you, which is not the case with me. I made a comment because I was trying to say something to stand up for other people. I was trying to make. So this is why I ain't left anymore. Because because of this shit. Some people will put in more work than others. He is paranoid and psychotic and has stated that he has visual hallucinations of seeing things in the mirror, including people's feet. Oh yeah. All right, so it was about 1, 2 in the morning, and some guy, one of the guards, stuck his boot up right in front of my door. And you can't see. I don't know what he did. I don't know if the jail cell next to me was open. Like they transferred. I don't know if they transferred the guy out of there that was next to me and had the door open. And he, as soon as I woke up, the people in the glass, they let him know somehow. All right, he's awake. And I'm standing, looking in the mirror, and I see a guy put a fucking foot up in a boot. And then he brings it down and then fucking sneaks back into the cell or whatever, and just chills there until I go back to sleep, and then they fucking pull him out of there. I mean, you can't. There's glass in Salt Lake County Jail. You can't stick your head through, like in bars. You can't stick your head through and see what the hell's going on. So that was a lie. I was not hallucinating anything. He has stated that he hears gunshots and that someone has been shooting a gun in his cell. I never, ever said that somebody was shooting a gun in my cell. That was a lie. This stuff that I thought this shit. Like I was telling him, this isn't true, that's not, it didn't matter. They still fucking shoved me on meds. They strip searched me, shoved me on meds, and sent me to the fucking state hospital. It didn't matter. You can speak the fucking truth, it don't fucking matter. But about the gunshots. So in Salt Lake County Jail, the doors, they're opened and closed with air pressure. What they do is they somehow turn up the air pressure with some kind of control. And they put me in a cell. and uh, they had me in a cell, and they kept popping my cell door open for stupid reasons, and it was a loud fucking snap in air pressure like a gunshot. Verbatim is context. I never said that somebody, it says here, and that someone has been shooting a gun in his cell. I never said that. He has made statements of being able to communicate with the television. Jesus Christ. All right, so subtitles would come on, and then uh, when subtitles pop up on the TV, they start misspelling words and putting code talk on the screen and stuff like that. And I was just reporting what I saw. I wasn't communicating with the fucking TV. He has stated that he has a chip in his wrist and nerve clamps in in my shoulder. That's what this thing says. Well, yeah, I suspect there's a chip in my wrist, and I know there's clamps in my shoulder. The patient has stated that he does not like psych. Oh, all right. Yeah. Okay. That's the same thing as above there. The patient has made paranoid statements stating, "I don't think the things I reported are reported accurately." God, fucking Christ. I don't think things are being reported accurately. That's paranoid. And I tried to fight all this stuff. It says here that I stated that jail staff falsify or fake things. Yeah, they did and they do. Patient has made paranoid statements stating, "I don't think things I reported are reported accurately." He has stated, "I fired my attorney. I don't need an attorney to go to trial." Yeah, my attorney, she fucked me over big time. It was weird. She was acting like she ran the courtroom, and she was talking to me like she was my fucking mommy, and giving me instructions and stuff when it was supposed to be the judge doing that. It was a very 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 odd situation, and I was not comfortable with her at all. And I told her on one of the phone calls, "I don't want you representing me." And I just wasn't adamant enough about it. But that's just the bottom line. Is that uh, yeah. It says here I threatened Dr. Peterson. Fuck yeah, I did. You bet your fucking ass I did. I would again too. I want to kick his ass. I don't care how big that son of a bitch is. See, this is the thing. Okay. It says here, while in general population, the patient received multiple violations, including swearing and becoming agitated and aggressive towards staff, refusing to follow instructions. I don't remember everything I went through, but I guarantee I did fucking swear and get mad a lot. The patient has argued and confronted cellmates and general population. Yeah, I did. When you get bullied, you confront people. That's what you do. That's that's what a normal person does. He assaulted a cellmate in GP, which was oh fuck, I remember this. Yeah. So I was going through a lot of sleep deprivation, and they have a lot of ways of doing that. And they transferred a guy into my cell, and this guy, I don't know if he was a fucking cop or if he was a guy who they were like, "All right, you do this, and we'll trim like 30 days off your sentence or some bullshit." He comes in and he just starts snoring really fucking loud, like just really 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 loud. And they wouldn't, and earplugs cost money, and I couldn't get my hands on earplugs. even if I had earplugs, this fucking son of a bitch would have woke me up. So I talked to him, I nudged him and talked to him politely, like a normal person will do, and he wouldn't stop. I fucking punched him in the back. And so that's where that report came. That was true. Yeah, I fucking hit one of my fucking cellmates because of what he was doing. The patient is a substantial risk of harm to others. Look, due to the patient's mental illness and refusal to take medication, he is a substantial risk of harm to others. He does not have the ability to recognize the high risk of his behaviors. Oh, God. The worst thing I did was punch another man in the back. And he got up. It didn't even hurt him that much. I mean, I punched him with like maybe half power or something like that. And he might have just sucked it up, and maybe it did hurt him or whatever. But this is ridiculous. I hope the viewer can see where I'm going with this. This stuff is so stupid. The patient is not capable of engaging in rational decision making regarding his appropriate treatment. In my opinion, the patient meets criteria for involuntary psychotropic medication in accordance with Salt Lake County policy and the NCCHC for health services in jails. Robert Wimmer, I concur with Debbie's findings, blah, blah, blah. Anthony Peterson. He says, I have a long history of psychiatric illness and a very clear primary psychotic condition. Very clear primary psychotic condition. Yeah, okay. He has been hospitalized at the Utah State Hospital previously. Yeah, when I was a teenager. You know, so there's a guy on Twitter, Robert James Davies, and he does a video and he does some meetings and stuff. And there's another guy that is at his conferences named Robert Whitaker. And James Davies points out that the DSM, the psychiatrist that drafted it, they put things to a vote. Then they also got paid. And all right, so Anthony Peterson, he says he became aggressive with me when medications were even brought up. I asked him about the possibility of starting medications, and he stood up abruptly and began yelling and screaming and then threatened me with violence. He has also been physically aggressive towards cellmates and others downstairs, so we have both threats and physical aggression. So he's omitting the fact that he has the shit-eating fucking grin on his face. And the way he framed this whole thing it's not entirely what happened. I hit one person in Salt Lake County Jail, and it was that cellmate that was snoring really loudly. Other cellmates did that. I would tap on them and stuff. And there were arguments I had with people too, and we got in each other's faces. I hit one person, one time, in the back, and that was it. So what's going on here is this is a clear case, a clear situation of people who are trying to get me to let people do things to me, to treat me like shit. You need sleep in order to be able to be in touch with reality and heal your body and stuff and do things that you need to. It's kind of important. It's kind of like food and water. Sleep is kind of important, like food and water. And they're obviously uh now I want to push for a constitutional amendment for medical freedom. I don't think that's good enough though. I'm kind of thinking that the whole government needs to be replaced. That's what I think. Uh, I don't think, well, I've thought this before. Uh, you know, one person can live a really shitty life and people will just walk past them and not fucking give a shit. You can call out, you can say Declaration of Independence, the government has become oppressive. If nobody stands with you, it doesn't matter. You're just wasting your breath. I might still try it if it comes to it, because I've thought about it multiple times. But um, that's it for this video. My jiu-jitsu coach tried saying I have cognitive issues. I didn't say or do anything to make that call. He's just being a fucking asshole. He's an asshole. And and a lot of the guys, there were a few guys at the gym, they acted like they were my friends. And I showed up with a good attitude. I tried to joke with them all and stuff. And they all turned their backs on me. So that's the end of this video.